Hello traders, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Yaroslav Burchenko. I'm the Chief Market Analyst at Olymp Trade, and today's topic of discussion is going to be Bitcoin. How to trade it, where does it come from, how does it fit into the modern economy, what the history of it looks like, and what you can expect going forward. So we have a graph of Bitcoin in front of us here, and right away I want to start with a question. How many of you have any experience trading with cryptocurrencies? Have any of you guys traded using any of the exchanges that we have worldwide, any of the Chinese exchanges, US exchanges? Do any of you hold cryptocurrency? So please, by show of hand in chat, guys, by the way, that way I'll know that you guys can hear me and see me, but please write if you've had any experience with Bitcoin, and if any of you guys have experience mining, if any of you guys have dabbled in any of the other cryptocurrencies, because some of you may have better energy prices than, say, we can get in Europe or the United States. So while you guys go ahead and do that, I will start with the webinar. And I do want to welcome all of you. It's not a big crowd, but you guys are obviously interested in some new technology. Excuse me. You guys are interested in new technology, and this is definitely it. So what is it? What is Bitcoin? For those of you guys that are just showing up, with Binance, exactly, that was my first experience working with them as well. Hey Dixon, welcome. So just real quick, I want to go ahead and talk about Bitcoin. I'm not a programmer. In no way am I a cryptocurrency expert. So if I mess some of this up, please forgive me, but I do understand the general premise of how it functions. So what is Bitcoin, cryptocurrency? Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer network, so it's a bunch of people connected together, and it's decentralized, so there's no one body. There is a Bitcoin organization that puts out updates, but they do not control all the money. They don't control how much it costs. They don't control when it gets put out. How does it get put out? Let me see if I can. Actually, I'm probably a bad drawer. Hey, Saeed. Hey, Adolfo. Welcome. Exactly, Satya. I'm going to try to tailor it as much as I can to you guys. So the more you let me know about what your experience is with Bitcoin, the smoother, I guess, we can go. How is Bitcoin created? It's created by solving, so a computer solves cryptographic mathematical puzzles. And right now, the puzzles are so hard. So when it first started, it was very easy. Computers could crack it like this. We had new Bitcoins coming in, and the reward that you get. So we have, I guess I do have to draw it out a little bit for you guys, just so that I can then show it to you guys better myself. So we are going to be using Paint. I hope you guys don't hate me too much for it. So basically, we have this person right here is a miner. So this is how Bitcoin is created. The maximum amount of Bitcoin we can have is 21 million. That's the maximum that can ever be. This is why the price of Bitcoin is expected to go up so much in the next few years. So we have a miner that solves mathematical problems. The mathematical problems, once they're solved, he is awarded with additional Bitcoins. And there's a few of these guys. There's a few of these miners, and they're all racing against each other to make these to solve these problems. Now these guys, besides mining, they also play a very important role, that they collectively hold all the account information for all the people that have Bitcoin. So this is the banking system that holds all the cryptocurrencies, and each one of these guys knows that on that string of numbers has that many Bitcoins, and that string of numbers, you guys understand, your wallet is a string of numbers. So something like, I'm probably screwing this up again. I do apologize, but it looks something like this, right? this is a Bitcoin wallet, and on that wallet or on that hash, you have a certain amount of Bitcoins. Everybody in the system is aware that how much currency there is in circulation, and then also how much is in each number. So if somebody tries to hack the system, if this guy tries to tell himself that he's got, you know, a million Bitcoin, these guys can say, red flag, that is not correct. That's not the amount that he has, so red flags coming out from everybody. That's what it means by decentralized system, is that everybody else is aware of what's going on. Then on the other side of the spectrum, we have users. Somebody buying coffee at the coffee shop, somebody buying a Porsche, and they also have access to a number, and they make these transactions between each other, but they are also still connected as part of the network, as all of these transactions are identified by each computer on the network and supported, saying that, hey, this is correct or this is incorrect. There have been hacking attempts to hack from here to take over this node and this node, to saying that, hey, he does have 10,000 Bitcoin on his account. But that's why it's a big system, and if the majority, like say we have more nodes here and here and here and here, and they all say that no, these guys are liars, then they will be discredited and taken off the system, saying that no, that's not the correct amount. The correct amount is actually 10 Bitcoin. So basically that's how a peer-to-peer network functions. That's what we are dealing with. Let me see what else I can tell you guys about it. It is an electronic currency. It usually grows whenever people lose faith in the monetary system. So the biggest growth to Bitcoin was in 2013. That's actually when it became mainstream. Let's go ahead and have a look now at a graph of Bitcoin. So this is what we have on Olymp Trade. Our graph dates back to, let me see when. So perfect, July 2018. For the sake of explaining to you guys how Bitcoin was created, I want to go back here. And let's start with the history. I'll tell you guys how Bitcoin functions in the economy, when it grows, when it falls. I just want to show you guys some of the technical patterns and talk about some of its history. All right, so if you look at this graph right now, you'll probably think, hey, this is a graph of Bitcoin this year. This is an illustration of how cyclical it is. This is actually 2013. This was after the European crisis, when Cyprus just excused everybody their savings in Cyprus bank accounts, and a lot of people from Great Britain that held their money in Cyprus, they went bankrupt. So this was the initial spike that we had in Bitcoin. So Bitcoin previously was trading around $85. So one Bitcoin costs $85, guys. This is the currency pair that we have. And then we had the huge spike up. And then Bitcoin got clamped on by the European Union. They did not, they're still pushing actually quite heavily that Bitcoin is a form of, it's a form of funding illegal activities. But the graph all across the board looks pretty much like this. So there's two things that I want to, I guess, get across to you guys. So the first thing is that Bitcoin trends heavily, and we have breaks of these trend lines. So the initial break, I guess, was here. And then from here, we started climbing. So the initial climb every time in Bitcoin, guys, we're going to have a look throughout the years, all the way up to 2020. And forecast something in 2021. But the initial change of trend, it comes usually after a long dip down. So we're going to consolidate. It's going to come here. It's going to crash. Then from that crash is going to be a quick recovery. And then there's going to be some indication that we're now shifting into strength. And then from here, price just goes higher, higher, and higher. The second area where we pay attention, and now the exponential growth. starts to happen, the incredible growth starts to happen is when we have a break of previous levels of support and resistance. I'm going to change this maybe to blue, dark blue. And so that break came when we broke this level here. As you guys can see, the initial test of the level failed, but once we broke the level, the trading only got stronger. The impulse only got stronger and heavier. So ideally, when you look for trades for Bitcoin and you want to maximize, say, your position size, you want to have a break of previous levels. And then this is the same chart pattern that I see year after year when trading Bitcoin. We shoot up and then we kind of reach a double top. This is always the clue that we're not going higher. We have a double, triple top, and then significant trading pressure going down and going down. After the initial leg down, you can always try to find another area to sell from. So, but personally myself, I've not had much success selling Bitcoin. I have had significant success buying Bitcoin. And it's always been off of some sort of fundamental backdrop, and we'll get into that a little bit later. And then, so again, the picture continues. We now have a downtrend. After the initial impulse up, we failed going up higher. We have a downtrend until we have an uptrend. So we break the bearish trend line going down, we break it to the top. Again, it usually starts very, very small, then we kind of step over that line, and then we have significant movement. Those initial few days, this is a daily graph, those initial few days of significant movement allow us to pinpoint the entry point. Now, going back into the history of Bitcoin, 2014 was still not mainstream. Bitcoin was still not mainstream, still hovering below $1,000. And technically, the picture still looks like we are in a prolonged downtrend. Around this time, a lot of funds, a lot of hedge funds were gaining in, were getting in. A lot of organizations were popping up that dealt in Bitcoin. And I believe in 2014 is when you can buy pizza with Bitcoin, like widespread. You can the first ATM in Vancouver, Canada, that exchanged Canadian dollars for Bitcoin was also put into play between 2013 and 2014. So the picture very similar, big downtrend, and then we have a little bit of a spike up. You guys could have gotten in when there were higher lows. Anytime we see higher lows on Bitcoin is an indication that, hey, it looks like we are changing directions. And then comes 2015. 2015 was the year that Bitcoin became more and more mainstream and actually became more and more regulated by the government. So both Europe and the United States were struggling to find a law or to make a law that would govern cryptocurrencies, because besides Bitcoin, now we had other currencies popping up like Zcash, like Litecoin. Litecoin was one of the first altcoins that came out using the same blockchain. What is a blockchain? It's basically a way of it's a system, kind of like a handshake system that allows you to conduct any kind of transfer of information. So in our case, the information is a cryptographic code that represents monetary value, but that at the same time in 2015, a lot of cryptocurrency or blockchain enthusiasts were pushing for different businesses. Around 2015, 2016, we heard things of like, yeah, life is like a blockchain. Around that time, we heard business ideas of of fleets of taxis that would accept Bitcoin and that would have no driver. That's also around the time when Tesla was worth around $400 per share. And so this was a good time to be in Bitcoin. Again, we dropped down back to 200s, around the 200 area, and from then it just grew. It grew and grew and grew past and again, you guys can kind of see that same, remember, the strongest signal that we enter into Bitcoin is a break of previous levels. When Bitcoin breaks the previous level of resistance, again, I recommend trading against resistance. Some of you may be fantastic short sellers, but it's very difficult to catch that move down. And then again, if you want to follow that move down, it's very difficult because it gets choppy. But the breakout, the initial breakout to the top, is always apparent, I mean, and you can easily get in the first 2-3 even days after a breakout. So just to illustrate my point, again, we have the same picture with the breakout here. Once we do break out, price exponentially rises. And then this was the first exponential growth in 2017. 2017 is when I got into Bitcoin, and I got in only at the end of the year when the US government actually legalized Bitcoin. What they did was they allowed futures contracts to be traded on the Chicago Mercantile Board of Exchange and also the CBOE, Chicago Board of Exchange, excuse me, CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and CBOE, Chicago Board of Exchange. They are both commodity trading complexes, and they accepted Bitcoin as a commodity. So it's not yet a currency, but it is a commodity that is now traded alongside with gold, copper, oil, things like that. So, but that happened at the end of the year. In the beginning of the year, we had a crisis, or we were finishing off a crisis in Europe, and they were having difficulty. The monetary system, Mario Draghi was pushing his speech about, we are going to do everything to uphold the euro. So basically, as much fiscal stimulus as needed, as low rates as needed, and right around that time, they were at 0.1% interest rate in Europe. And so Bitcoin was gaining traction because the world monetary system was losing traction. And it was becoming mainstream as people were plugging into the cyber economy, into the online economy. By this time in 2017, you could buy cars with Bitcoin. You can buy a car in Japan, like premium car, Ferrari, Porsches, Mitsubishis, whatever they were selling in Japan, you could buy it. China became the biggest holder of Bitcoin at this time. Now, China has very low prices for energy and very large storage spaces. So a lot of Bitcoin mining companies actually were made in China because, like I said, they have large storage facilities, cheap electricity, cheap labor, so you can hire a technician to come every day to check the farm, as it's called, and that's when really Bitcoin started flying. In 2017, even 16, you could mine Bitcoin from home. This is when we had a lot of people trying to buy farms by themselves. So this is one of the reasons. And altcoins also, if you have a look at Monero, the graph of Monero also was very close in mimicking the stellar growth of Bitcoin. All right, now comes summer. Come end of summer, this is when the SEC in the United States was considering to approve trading for Bitcoin. And then I don't want to show you guys that exponential growth, but in August, early August, we have confirmation that Bitcoin is going to be available to trade as a futures contract on US exchanges. That was the news that just, blew Bitcoin out of the water. Now hedge funds are actively going to be trading Bitcoin. Now the whole world is looking at this like, how do we get in? And so a buy the dip strategy emerged in the crypto market. I got in around September. Actually, at the start of September, my entry was about $7,000. I traded it on Poloniex. At the time, was a U.S. exchange, and Bitfinex was my go-to initially when I was just studying cryptocurrency movements. And when I got in, the price dipped a little bit. I thought, oh man, this is going to be the end of me. But I knew that the interest around Bitcoin would only rise. I talked to my friends. They got onto the position as well. I did not increase my position at the time. And late September, the growth was exponential. Just exponential. We grew, so from September, the earlies of September to the late of October, 6,000. So we grew 100% in 1 month. it was quite the ride. In November, I started thinking about when to get out, and then come late November, somewhere around here, I got out. My result was, like I said, around 100% for my deposit. It was actually more. It was like 150%. So I made, if I invested 7, I made 14. Around 20,000 was the results on my trading account when I changed it back into US dollars. But the Bitfinex charged me a 35% fee to transfer the money out of my account. And so did Poloniex. They had ridiculous commission structures. It was 30 to 50% for changing back into US dollars and then withdrawing from the account. So it was profitable. It was scary. That was my first kind of real intro into Bitcoin. After that, we hit the peak at around 20,000. And after that, it was many years of negative trading. As you guys can see here, it was continuously just making lower lows and lower highs, and then that drop that I told you guys about. So after a consolidation within a triangle, we usually have another sufficient drop. Volatility dies. It means the interest of people trading within the Bitcoin community dies, and people kind of took a step back. 2019 was when we were all focused on stocks. We were all focused on the Trump economy, and we were all focused on the recession that was climbing around Europe. And then we have the breakout of these levels. So the pink line is the next level of resistance that we break out from. The next break, as you guys can see, the break of that pink level was significant, and if you would have gotten in on that level the next day or the next day, you would have had a good entry point that you could have stayed in for the long term. Again, I outlined some other levels, so all these teal levels are also levels that are broken that you could have gotten in to trade, and the purple level as well. These are all trading entry points that you could take and that you should remember for the future, as Bitcoin is very cyclical in the way that it trades. And so after 2019, 2020 came around. This is when actually 2019 was a good decent year for Bitcoin in the start, and then again we had that same structure, that kind of triangle that shifts down, and then that sharp fall down. After the sharp fall down is when you want to pay attention, but you do want to give price a little bit of time. This is what we're seeing in the gold market right now. It just takes more and more time for price to kind of find its footing and then continue up higher. So now we are trading up around 10,000. This is the norm. We are now into 2020, and we had that market fall. So April market fall, the whole entire market financial system had a nice fall, and then a recovery just like the stock market. Now, as you guys can see, the recovery is stellar. The results you could have gotten are better than the stock market, and there has not been a bearish sign yet to show us that Bitcoin is going to turn around. In my opinion, guys, and let's talk about now the macro situation. In my opinion, I am worried about the world stock market. The U.S. has very strong factors that factor into why it should grow. Super low interest rates, the promise for the Fed to keep interest rates low. We talked about this yesterday, but I just want to say again, the earnings season is stellar in the United States. We also have a new president, a president that should be good for the stability of the world, not just the United States. And we have the 2 new vaccines. So all of this is very, very positive for the U.S. stock market. If you guys are looking to buy in, it would be a smart move to invest some of your capital for the long term in the U.S. stock market, or you can nitpick stocks yourself, stocks that are going to outperform. But Bitcoin in and of itself is a very strong vehicle that acts as a hedge to a lot of the financial problems that we could have in the future. So anytime, if you guys have heard or thought about this, there is a derivative bubble that is right now currently happening in the world, and it's just growing, growing, and growing. It's a derivative bubble of like 30 trillion US dollars. So these are, what are derivatives? They're synthetic financial instruments that are made to show or value the price of another asset. So in and of itself, it has no value, but it's a value of something else. So this bubble, this derivative bubble, is is very dangerous for the whole world financial system, and Bitcoin acts as a hedge. Together with gold, Bitcoin and gold act as a hedge to any kind of financial, turbulence that we have in the world. So going forward, the future of Bitcoin is very bright. Along with the commodity complex, Bitcoin is growing, exponentially. And right now, it may not be the best place to get in, but now you guys understand how it works, how it fluctuates, the way it moves. So the entry points right now could be a drop down to the moving average, but remember that the all-time high for Bitcoin as of right now is 20,000. So it looks like Bitcoin is looking to get into that direction, and there's still about 25% left of that move to go. So you guys still can get in on that. My trading experiences have been that it's a very difficult short-term speculation vehicle. It's very difficult to say in the short term, where the bottom is. When are we going to bottom out? How it's going to grow. But it's possible to find an entry point. Again, even right here, you guys, it's possible to find an entry point of a breakout system. So one indicator that really helps to trade in Bitcoin is the A-Rune. Let's get rid of the RSI and put on the A-Rune. So for those of you that don't have any experience with the A-Rune, I'll quickly go over it, but there's also a video that I recorded. Basically, the blue line is the up line, the orange line is the down line, and whichever line is above, as you guys can see here, actually, can you see that? Let me see this. Let me just move my face a little bit up higher. Strange, I can't seem to move it. Sorry guys. Can't move my face. What the heck is that? All right, let's do it like this. As you guys can see here, we have the 100, the 70, the 50, the 30. Every time the indicator is above the 70 line, and the line that is there indicates that this is the trend. This is in charge. When we have the yellow line up above the blue line, it means that the downtrend is in charge. We are in predominantly a downtrend right now. And then when they cross, means it's a change of trend. Again, you want to have a cross of above 100, down below 100, and then a cross of the other one. Like crosses down here don't really mean much because they're below the 50% line. It's just a bunch of static. But hopefully this indicator does help to check what the trend is and when we are due for a breakout. So again, we are having the breakout right here, but the A-Rune indicator is showing us that right here already the bulls are in charge. The bulls are in charge. So this is one of the indicators that helps you guys with trading Bitcoin. Trading patterns we discussed, trading experiences. The future of Bitcoin is very closely tied, like I said, to the commodity complex and also the stability of the financial system. If the financial system, again, if central banks decide to do something very crazy, very unethical, like we saw in Cyprus, where people just, where the central bank locked down people's savings, Bitcoin grew. Again, that was 2013, 2015, or excuse me, 12 and 13. And you guys saw that the price of Bitcoin really rose that year, especially at the end of the year. So here we have 2016, perfect, 2013. So end of 2012, 2013 is really when now this may not look like a huge spike, but remember, if the asset is valued like $20 and it shoots up to $240 in a month, in a period of a few weeks, guys, that's huge results. Anybody who held Bitcoin at the time really became rich. And then, every time that we have a spike from the bottom up higher, new millionaires are created. So Bitcoin does function in kind of redistributing the wealth and putting different organizations in the driver's seat, because only specialized hedge funds and other funds were active in the Bitcoin sphere. So I'm going to spend a few moments right now in chat. I see you guys are going a little bit off topic and talking a little bit in your language. If you guys have any questions about Bitcoin, go ahead and ask them. So Arif, Islam lead generation, how to make 100% winning this site. Again, there's no way to win 100% when trading Bitcoin or any kind of financial asset. The best thing that you can do is position yourself. So wait for a drop in price and then enter not completely, not a whole position at the time, but layer it, tier it a few times. So even if price goes a little bit lower, the entry that you have is only getting better. It's only getting sweeter, and take it as such that it's not necessarily going against you. And remember, there's only 21 million Bitcoins that are available in total, and so as we hit that limit, as we come close to hitting that limit, I believe in 2024 we are going to come to that limit. People are Bitcoin is going to be worth more because it's a finite amount, just like gold, just like oil. There's only a finite amount of that commodity. But currency, on the other hand, this is for all of you traders going forward. Currency, on the other hand, is constantly being printed. There is not a finite amount of currency. There's an infinite amount of paper currency that can be printed and created on a computer. So as we continue, as the world grows, as we past the coronavirus pandemic, keep in mind that money will continue to lose its value. And if you are keeping your money in a bank account and not actively investing it somewhere, you're basically losing money every year. You're hemorrhaging your hard-earned money or your hard-earned time and money. So the best thing that you can do is put together a small portfolio out of, say, US stocks, some commodities on the Forex platform, and have that open. So leave your positions in stocks, indices, metals, commodities open for the long term. Now I'm not quite sure how far oil is going to grow as a commodity. It doesn't look to be too good, but I do know that Russia and Saudi Arabia are going to step up and do something about the super low price of oil coming next year. So be wary of that, you guys. So crypto is right here, the last crypto category. Bitcoin was our main topic today. Let me see if I can see if you have any other questions. Is that our money in Google Pay or other e-wallets in this form of Bitcoin? Good question. So Sai, no, your money in Google Pay and e-wallets is actually money. They are actual online wallets, so PayPal. They do accept Bitcoin, like I know for sure PayPal accepts Bitcoin, but they that money is stored on the bank account of that payment system. So if you're using Google Pay, like I myself am using, they actually don't store any of your money. They use your debit card and use the money from that. It's just an aggregate system of combining the two. So yeah, I see you deleted your message, Sai. All right, and then you guys started talking in a question. So Edya, good question. Do I think that Bitcoin will still go up? I do think that Bitcoin will still go up, guys. My forecast for Bitcoin into 2021 is around $25,000 per one Bitcoin. And the economy, the Bitcoin economy is still alive and well. You can still use Bitcoin to make some online purchases. And I do think that there's a future for this cryptocurrency. Now let's talk about some of the other cryptocurrencies. If you guys are trading things like Litecoin, like Monero, like Dash, like Zcash, you guys need to monitor what Bitcoin is doing. In and of themselves, they do not pose a significant economic interest to anybody. So when the craze, the 2017 cryptocurrency craze was hitting the deck, my only suggestion to investors was, and this is how I got burned. I bought for $5,000. Me and my friends invested in a Kazakhstani mining company. It was called like BAK or something, BAD or BAK. I think it was called BAK, BAK. It was a cryptocurrency backing a mining operation in Kazakhstan. They were mining coal and they were mining gold, and it sounded really good and the presentation looked really good. They said, you guys can come visit next year. So okay, cool. We invested $5,000. 2018, we had no reply from them. 2019, my friends flew to Kazakhstan, flew to the mining operation, and guess what? It was just a big rusty shack. Nobody was there. It was just a bought real estate and then dumped, and then done with the cryptocurrency. So when investing in crypto, in altcoins, you need to make sure that there's a solid business model and that there are earnings. Tesla was very volatile when it first came out because the earnings were just not there. It was a negative sum company. Basically, they were losing money and not earning a penny, and they were losing millions of dollars a year. So that's the thing that you need to pay attention to, is if you're investing into altcoins, is do they have an income? Is it sustainable? And what are the uses of it? How easy it is to use and incorporate into business. The volatility of all crypto, it's too crazy. Will I just try what you say now in demo account? Maybe I can get it. Yes, that's absolutely it. My recommendation is use a demo account, because you do have to understand that the multiplier is very, very small. So you have to make outsized positions in relation to your account. So try to open a 5,000 demo dollar trade. Try to open a 2,001. See how it fluctuates when you open in Bitcoin. Another thing I want to remind you of is that the time limit for Bitcoin is a little bit less. I think the maximum that you can open Bitcoin is for 2 weeks, but let me confirm that. I think they changed that this year too as well. So here in assets, you guys can go to find all of the trading conditions. So I do believe that now you can trade Bitcoin for as long as you want. So there's no mandatory closing of your positions. So again, if you want to invest, nope, right here, maximum trade direction. Oh, this is for fixed time trade, maximum trade direction. So that's right. So now, just like all of our other Forex assets, you guys can trade Bitcoin and hold on to it for a really long time. So if we do have a dip in Bitcoin and it dips down to any of the previous levels, you can try to find an entry for yourself for the long term. How I buy and keep safe Bitcoins in blockchain for long times. That's a good question, Islam Hassan. So as we were going through the asset here, I just want to again outline that it's not a very expensive trade. So the overnight fee is again less than 0.04%, and you can open up and hold the position here, because the broker takes off a lot of the risk from having the actual Bitcoins yourself. Now, how it works in the real economy is you have to open up a wallet yourself. So you have a crypto wallet that is tied to your name, but there's no way of fixing it. There's no way. If you lose the code, if you lose the password to your wallet, you're done. You lost all of your money. You can't go to, say, the miner with your passport and say, hey, hello, this is me. This is my Bitcoin. Give it to me. That doesn't work like that. So if you lose your password, if you get hacked, if your computer shuts down and you lose all the information there, that's it. Your money is gone. There's no way of saving it. Now, there are some third-party coin wallets that give you that two-factor authentication, an opportunity to get your keys back if you lost it. But guess what? They take a commission. They take a commission for storing your Bitcoin, or they have some sort of a payment for monthly service fees. So when you trade Bitcoin through a brokerage, you have the opportunity of getting rid of that. The brokerage takes on they manage the passwords, they take care of the security. Basically, your only exposure to risk is market risk. That's why I recommend to all my friends who are looking into Bitcoin or looking into altcoin, I say trade through a broker. You don't need to trade through an exchange. The other way, like I said, the opposite way is to trade through an exchange. You have to have a wallet, you have to go to an exchange, you have to actually physically buy their Bitcoins on that exchange for your US dollars or for whatever currency they trade in. And then you have to monitor that yourself. It transfers into your wallet, and then you kind of have to take care of that yourself. Yeah, HODL is one of the trading strategies. HODL is basically you hold for a long time. You buy and hold it for a really long time. Risky and reality wallets are not very safe. Exactly. You're absolutely right. So to trade, let's see if we can find a trade entry even today. Now we have this persistent downtrend starting at 6 a.m. this morning. Before that, we were in a flat. So kind of normal market structure that we were growing. Then we had that first indication that we were falling. This is the first indication that growing is done. That means whoever was holding the cryptocurrency before is now out, and slowly we're getting smaller, smaller, and smaller. The main, I guess, place that you want to watch is that we don't take out the lows, the previous lows, because if we do take them out, then that would be a signal that, hey, we're in for a prolonged period of time. But what we can do now is kind of outline an area where we want to buy in. Again, all of this may look very, very simple, and it is. You don't need to overcomplicate it, but it does take, that perseverance, that monitoring, that, hey, have we broken through the level or not every day? You guys need to watch it. So kind of we can see that the lines are getting smaller now here. It's very possible that Bitcoin will continue to fall. It's absolutely possible. We're seeing that the gold market is falling. I'm seeing that US tech stocks are falling. And we see that the dominating trend, again, is the downtrend. So in the short term, I guess let's make a down position, a sell, with the take profit somewhere around. See, this is why it's important that you practice on the demo account so that you can see where on a $2,000 trade with a 10% multiplier, times 10 multiplier, this is the result that you have. So one of the recommendations that I have, do you guys see this ruler on the right side right here? Minus 50 plus 45. What that means is that when we are plus 56 plus 43, as Bitcoin lowers in price, it's harder for the same move to give you the same amount of money. But as Bitcoin increases in price, it's easier to get more money at the time. So opening up a trade for $2,000, I will make 56%, so about $1,000, only when we hit 18,000. So this is one of the ways that you can gauge how much money your trade is going to make if you're entering this amount, whether up or down. See here? See how the ruler changes when you hover over the different lines? That's a way of measuring the different positions. All right, guys, that's it for today. I know it's been a quick webinar, or a long webinar. We've been here for about 40 minutes. If you guys have any more questions about cryptocurrency or trading Bitcoin, go ahead and leave it in a comment down below. We do watch the comments and provide you guys with answers. Also, I want to invite you guys back next week. Next week is going to be filled with economic events and trading opportunities, and I'm going to be recording a video on the trading week ahead. So you guys make sure to watch out for that video. Monday morning it's going to come out. So if you guys are looking for trading ideas or you want to see how my gold trades are doing, come back on Monday and we'll have a look at it together. Other than that, I wish you guys success in trading. I hope that you guys continue learning, continue getting better. Together with Olymp Trade, we wish you guys good luck trading out there. See you next time. Peace. Don't forget to like and subscribe.